Pre-K. Let's finish up this story about the prodigal son. This is found in the book called Luke. That's where we're working on. And I'm just going to quickly remind you the beginning of the prodigal son. So remember, there were two sons and a father. And then the younger son asked the father for the things that he would get after the father died, which is called inheritance. He asked his dad for that money, and then he took it and he spent it, lots of it, in lots of things that he didn't really need but that he wanted. And so he ran out of the money pretty quick. And then a famine hit the land, which means there wasn't much water. And the things didn't grow very good, and people were low on things like food and what they needed. And there he was working for a pig farmer, and he decided, I could probably go back to my dad and tell him that I'm sorry, that I did something wrong. And that's an important part of the story. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. And then I could confess to him that I'm sorry and ask him if I could work for him as one of his servants. So he came up with that plan, and that's what he decided to do. But while he was on the road heading toward, the father saw him and ran to him, and he hugged him, and he said, "Oh, my son." And the young son said to the father, "Father, I have sinned. I have wronged you. I have done something terrible. If I could just be one of your servants." But the father said, "Run, get our best coat. Go get a ring. We're going to put a ring on his finger to let him be reminded that he is my son. He belongs to me. And go kill the biggest calf that we have, because we're going to have a celebration. My son was lost, but now he is found." And remember, Jesus told this story not because he saw or heard about it happening, but because it was a parable, meaning it was a story that was to teach us a lesson. And the lesson that we can know is that God forgives us. That's how excited he gets when one of us comes to him and says, "We love you." And when one of us says, "We're sorry that we did the wrong thing. We want to change. We want to do what's better." And so we, in this story, are kind of like the prodigal son. But God is like the father who's excited and welcomes him home. Now, there's another part of the story. The older brother, remember him? He's out working in the field, and he hears all the commotion of the celebration, and he says to one of the servants, "What's going on?" And the servant tells him, "Your brother is home. He was lost, but now he's found." And so the brother is not so sure that he's happy about that. But the important thing is that God is happy when we turn our life to him, when we decide we want to be followers of God, because that is a great choice. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about is some of the doctrine, which means some of the important things about knowing the Bible. We talked about the Bible, right, and who wrote it. And today I want to talk about who's God. God was never born. He always was. There never was a time when there wasn't God. Nobody made God. The Bible tells us that God puts us together inside the womb. They use the word knit, which I like. God puts us, he's done that exactly and perfectly. Nobody did that with God. He never was born. He's always lived. And he's never going to die. That is a good promise, to know that we serve a living God and that he welcomes us no matter what we've done that's wrong. He will forgive us, and he wants our soul to be right with him.